one end was here and the other end was there. And then another button. Why did I not think of it myself? Because I just did it literally a month ago on another sweater. So cozy, so fluffy, so Christmassy. You're not ready. You're absolutely not ready. Because it's so cute. Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to episode 67 of my knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 19th of November 2025, and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. I have a podcast episode for you today, and I have a lot of things to say, but maybe slightly less than usual, so maybe this episode will be shorter. Who knows? Who knows? I have two finished objects, one of which I wanted to talk about in the last episode and also in the episode before that, but I just keep on forgetting because I don't have it with me. But hopefully this time I'm not gonna forget. And I have two works in progress, no acquisitions, but I have a lot of stuff to tell you about, like story time, stuff that happens, funny stories, stuff like that, at the end. And I think that's it. So let's start immediately with what I'm wearing. So this is a piece I finished almost exactly a year ago. Yes, so I figured it was maybe time to show it again on the podcast. So this is my Maxine Sweater test for Laura Penrose. And I test knit size 2, but I did some modifications. But I'll talk about that after I talk about the yarns. So the yarns I used, the main color, so the burgundy color, is Bicep Le Petit Lamb's Wool held double. I could have used the Le Lamb's Wool, but I think this color wasn't available in Le Lamb's Wool. I don't remember, something like that. And the color work is made, so the teal color is knitted in. It's the colorway Bitan, I think. I held it double as well. And the orange little bits in the middle of the stars is also knitted in. It's orange colorway. I think the name was something like Svaveltica or something. And then the grey that you almost cannot see, which is really annoying me. It's a random grey. I just needed a grey and I bought what I could find, which was Tfini, I think, by Isega. And I had to hold it triple because it's super thin. And I'm a bit bummed because I really wanted the the grey to be darker. And I originally bought the same base as this one, so Le Petit Lamb's Wool by Bicep. But the color that came in was much lighter than the one that I saw on the website. So it wasn't the right one. So I could have gotten the darker shade of grey, but I wasn't sure and I didn't have the time because it was the very end of the test knit and I had like 2 weeks left. So I just had to go to a local yarn shop, but this is the only option I found. And it's still a little bit too light, which I'm a bit bummed because then the color work looks a little bit muddy and there's kind of not enough contrast, but it's fine. I still love it. I still wear this one all the time. If I want to wear a sweater, I usually wear this one. Even if the fit is not 100% perfect, let me explain. So I did do a lot of modifications. I added a little bit of short rows here at the back neck because in the pattern the short rows are, here, but on the back, obviously. And I added a little bit more here. And I shifted the sleeves forward because I need more room in the back than on the front. So as you can see, it's sitting perfectly fine, but there is 12 stitch difference between the back and the front. So when I separated for body and sleeves, basically, instead of separating at this point, I moved it 3 stitches forward. And that means 3 and 3 on each side. But since removing 6 on the front also adds 6 on the back, in total it's a 12 stitch difference. So that's a lot. With the DK gauge, it's 5 centimeter difference. But as you can see, it fits me perfectly. So I'm glad I did that. And I did something else, but I don't remember what. But it wasn't enough because I did something wrong. It's not the pattern's fault. My proportions are off the chart, so it's not the pattern's fault if this doesn't fit me. But when I did the first round of flower, no, stars color work up here. I was in a car. I was speed knitting because, as I said, I only had 2 weeks left to knit this one. And I just didn't take the time to stop to check my colorwork gauge, and it was super tight. A lot tighter than the first row, and a lot tighter than it should be in general. But I didn't have the time to unravel because I really need to get going on this. So I continued and I just loosened the gauge. So this little section is a little bit tighter than the rest, and I tried to block it out. And if you look really closely, you probably cannot see that on the video, but if you look really closely, you can see that the stitches here are a bit stretched out compared to the rest. And that's why sometimes it's going to be difficult to show. But yeah, I do have a little bit of a front neck hump here because this particular thing is a bit too small. So it's sucking the sweater in like this. And the front neck is completely riding up, as you can see. But yeah, it just does that, and it's mostly because of this, which is a shame. But anyway, I still wear it all the time because I did put on the inside of the neckline, I used the cashmere strand held double so that it would be really soft and not bother me, because the lamb's wool is extremely rough, like textured, but it's not itchy, so I can wear it next to skin. If anything, the Nutiden is more itchy than this. But still, I didn't want it to have the lamb's wool here on my neck, especially because this is, I mean, yeah, it's completely riding up. So the cashmere does help a lot with having this being comfortable to wear, but it's not perfect. But it's alright, I still wear it all the time. It's like one of my most worn sweaters. There is another one that I wear all the time as well, just as much as this one, so yeah. It's one of my go-to, I love it. The modification I forgot, I remember now. It has nothing to do with the fit, I just added some colorworks here on the cuffs and on the bottom of the body. So this is not in the pattern, and I just used one of those charts and did it down here. And that's all. I had to fiddle around with the stitch count, but it was like one decrease here and there, and that's all. So that's my Maxine sweater. The finished object, I need to not forget to tell you about, because I don't have it here, but I'm going to show you a picture. This is Poppy the Chicken by Jessica Reeves Potash? I have no idea how you're supposed to say that, I'm sorry. But it's a super cute tiny chicken. You're supposed to knit it with like a super bulky yarn on big needles. It's a free pattern, but I didn't follow the stitch counts. I just followed the construction. It's super, super easy. You basically just knit a square in garter stitch, and then you pick up from the sides, and then you knit a tube, absolutely straight, just a tube of stockinette, and then you sew down the top with like a whip stitch or whatever, or maybe a 3-needle bind-off, I don't really remember. And then you just knit the two wings, and you sew them on, and then you embroider the beak and the eyes. And you also knit the crest, and that's it. And it's so cute. It has kind of a dumb look. The trick to have such a cute face, if you want to know, is to have the eyes very low compared to the mouth. So the level of the beak should be very close to the eyes. Don't do the eyes too high up, basically, or don't do the beak too low compared to the eyes, and you will get the cute, slightly dumb look. Just my tip. Anyway, the yarn I use for this is a mini from, I'm gonna mention her shop on every episode, I think. Douce Broderie, which is a local yarn shop. The owner, Sandy, we are friends now. When she had her booth at a local yarn festival a few weeks ago, she wanted to display her yarns, and we did some swatches with the yarn she had at the shop, and she just gave me a mini skein saying, like, if you have some time to spare, you can do something with that. And I had some time to spare, and I had seen Yeji from Handmade Co. I was watching her videos, and she did make a Poppy the Chicken with her leftovers, and I was like, I'm gonna make that with this mini skein. So I held the yarn double, it's a fingering weight. The maker is Your Magic Yarn, I think. I think she's from Ukraine. I'm not 100% sure, but I think. I held the yarn double to make a decay gauge, and I just winged the dimensions, knowing I had 20 grams and I wanted it to be done fast. And I did the little chicken, and it's super cute. It was so fast and easy to do. Like, I really recommend if you have some leftovers and you don't want to do like a whole, how is it called? Emotional support chicken. You can do Poppy the chicken instead. Super cute, and it goes so fast. Yeah. Just a note on the holding the yarn double. So the skein, before it was caked up, it's one of those skeins that has one side in one color and then it fades into another color, so it's half and half, kind of. And when I started, I just took the two ends from each side because it was a cake, so I could pull from the inside and from the outside. And I just aligned the two ends and I started knitting. But the colors were aligned with each other, so I was getting massive pulling despite holding the yarn double, because each half was aligned with the other half going in the other direction. So yeah, I was just getting a lot of pulling. So I unraveled, and instead of aligning the two ends when I started, I just pulled on one end. So maybe one end was here. Does this even make sense? One end was here and the other end was there, so that the colors wouldn't be aligned on top of each other. And that way I had the perfect marling when I was knitting with the yarn doubled. And that's how I got the very homogeneous look of the fabric. It's just because I had to pay attention at the beginning. And it's just a trick, just a tip. If you want to hold the yarn double and you really want to avoid pulling, you cannot just hold it double and go. You need actually to pay attention to the motif of the colors, the distribution of the colors on the yarn, and pay attention to how they are stacked on each other. Just a tip. A trick, tip, trip. Yeah. I use 4mm needles. And I stuffed it using so next to my yarn Swift, I cut the ties and then I put all the ties in a little box. I don't throw them away, I keep them in a box. But the box was super full and I was like, with my little chicken, I wasn't sure what to use to stuff it because I do have some polyfill, but I'm pretty sure I can find something better. And I looked at this box that was overflowing. So I took all the ends from the skein I had wound up until now and I stuffed it in the chicken. I had a little bit of room left, so I used some Nutiden scraps, because sometimes when I unravel Nutiden and knit it again and unravel again and knit it again, after a while it's just destroyed because it's unspun yarn and it's very fragile. So I don't re-knit it like 5 times in a row. I just keep the bit of yarn in another box and I keep it for I don't know what, but that was the perfect occasion to use it. So I used those destroyed scraps of unspun yarns to finish stuffing the chicken, and that was the perfect amount. So I'm very happy that I really used stuff I had at home. I mean, I had polyfill at home, but I just didn't want to use it to stuff this little guy. And I'm super happy with how it came out. And I'm definitely going to make more and probably put them up here. It's going to be cute to have a little chicken. But yeah, for now, this one is at the Sandy's shop because it's using yarns from her shop. And it's perfect to display what you can do with the mini skein. So yes, that was a finished object that I just kept on forgetting to show you for like a month. And the next finished object is not completely finished because I still need to sew it on. But this is a lampshade, but I still need to sew it on the frame. The frame is here. So yeah, if you've been here for a while, you know what I'm talking about. This is still damp because I just blocked it and I'm gonna sew it on while it's damp so that it blocks on the frame with the perfect shape. But I haven't had the time to do it, but it's winter and we are quickly losing light and I hope it's not too dark. I'm sorry if it is, but I'm doing my best. So I'm just filming before I sew this on so that we have the light. So I probably already shown you pictures of this finished since I started talking about it. And maybe you can tell or maybe not, but there is a little bit of lace. You can hardly tell. But since this is bouclé, yeah, here, there's a little flower. Oh, you can actually tell. And here, and here. And yeah, I have some cute little dainty flowers on here, and my hope is that when the lampshade is on an actual light bulb with the light shining through, you can see the cute little flowers. Yeah. Last time I showed you a swatch and I was doing a much bigger lace chart, but then I felt it was a bit too much and a bit difficult to keep track of, and since I'm using bouclé, it was just difficult to knit on and doing the knit togethers and the slip knit stuff. Yeah, it was just a bit too much. So I decided that less is more in this case, so I just did the smallest, easiest little flowers, and I think it's working great. So I'm glad I did that. The yarn I used is, you cannot really get this anywhere yet, because it's going to be available at Sandy's shop. It was 100 gram, kind of a sport weight yarn. It's very similar to Drop's alpaca bouclé in the makeup. It's 300 grams per, no, 300 meters per 100 grams. Except this one is wool, 100% wool, and the Drop's alpaca bouclé is alpaca. But yeah, you can totally use this type of yarn, or any bouclé really. You just need the circumference of the thing to be the same size as the frame you have, a little bit smaller, so that it has this kind of nice shape when you put it on. And you have a lampshade. And I used 4.5 millimeter needles, and I don't know if it's gonna come out when I sew it on, but for now it's biasing. At least from what I can see here, it's definitely skewed. Yeah, you can kind of tell. It's going like this. So I hope it's gonna come out once it's on, but also it's a lampshade, so I don't think I really care. I'm not doing this for my place. I'm doing this for Sandy's shop because she gave me this yarn. I didn't buy it because we did the Christmas shop window display at her shop last week. We did that together. We had a lot of fun. And one of the things we want to have is a knitted lampshade, because that's going to be so cozy, so fluffy, so Christmassy. Like, yeah, just perfect for a Christmas window shop display thing, whatever. But I hadn't finished it last week when I went, so it's still here. But I'm going back tomorrow and we can install it tomorrow, and that way the window shop display front thing is going to be finished. And I'm super excited. I can, by the way, tell you about this already and not wait until the end of the episode. You can skip the chapter if you're not interested by that. I enjoy hanging out at Sandy's shop, and we just enjoy hanging out together, and we were just chatting about something else. And the conversation went, and we landed at some point on doing, like, you know, the white chalk pens that you can draw on glass with or on blackboards. You can do like window art with those and do like, yeah, big drawings on windows, and a lot of shops do this. And I've been doing that a few times. Like, I have it right here. I drew a Christmas tree last year on my window because I didn't want to buy a Christmas tree, so I just drew it. And it's still there because obviously I don't clean my windows very often. Oops. And I also drew some magnolia flowers on a window at my parents' place. And yeah, I did some stuff. I just enjoy doing this, but I don't really have the opportunity. I mean, I could clean my window and do another drawing on my own window, but I'm too lazy for that. So when I had the opportunity to do this at Sandy's shop, obviously for free, because drawing on windows is not my job, so I'm not gonna ask for money for that, because there was a high chance I could also completely screw up and just do something disgusting that we're gonna erase at the end of the evening. So yeah, I did it for free. So that was the main idea behind why I went to her shop to do the window display for Christmas. But since I was there, we just ended up doing the whole window display together, and we had a ton of fun. We had a nice time, and I think the result is really cute. And while we were doing it, a lot of people stopped and looked at the whole window display and said it was beautiful. And also, yeah, I'm pretty happy. We had a great time. It was fun, and I'm super excited for the pièce de résistance to go in. It's gonna be so cute. Hopefully I can show you pictures, because I think this video is gonna come out after I go to her shop. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, so this is my second finished object. And I am gonna write up a very, very small, super short, very like basic pattern for it. Just like cast on this many stitches, knit this many rows, follow this chart and do it like 5 times and then bind off and sew it on the frame. Like basically it's gonna be that. It's gonna be free and I don't know when it's gonna be up, probably next week. I will try my best, but I have so many things to do and so little time. And I wasn't at home the last 2 days, but yeah, I will try my best to make it happen fast. Yeah, but that's coming. All right, now we can go into the works in progress, and I'm gonna do a reverse order, and I'm gonna keep the best for the end because it's gonna transition into a live segment. You will understand when we get there, but I'm gonna start with the boring stuff. Again, use the chapters if you want to skip the boring stuff. I'm saying boring because it's just stuff I have already talked about. So the first thing, very quickly, my Shady Hoodie. I mentioned last week that I needed to lengthen the sleeves, and I said I had 2 options, which were to unravel the whole sleeve and reknit them with more space between the decreases, because I wanted more space in the elbow anyway, or I could just undo the cuff, lengthen the sleeve, redo the cuff. But I wanted more space in the elbow, so I was more likely to unravel the whole sleeve. And someone sent me a message that I could also cut off the arm, lengthen the bicep, and then graft it back together. And I was like, yes, I could. And why did I not think of it myself? Because I just did it literally a month ago on another sweater. And I mean, I know this solution exists because I just did it for something else. And I just forgot that this was even an option. So thank you so much, Michelle, for telling me about this. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. I'm not going to unravel the whole sleeves. I'm just going to cut it here, lengthen what I need, and graft it back together. And that way I am going to have more space in the elbow like I wanted, and I won't have to reknit the whole sleeve. I don't understand why I didn't think of it myself. I'm not sure what's up with my brain these days. Maybe I have too much on my plate. I'm not going to do this now. I'm going to put this on the to-fix basket I have, and at some point, I don't know when, I'm going to film one of those videos where I fix my knits, because it's going to be a faster task than reknitting the whole sleeves, so I can do this in one of those videos that I like to do. And I need to do one fast because I have some knits that I really want to wear, but I need to fix first. But I don't have the time, so I don't know. Maybe next week? Probably not, let's be real. But yeah, at some point I need to do one of those fixing my knits video. The next work in progress I want to talk about now, I have already talked about a lot, so I'm just gonna go quickly through it because I don't have a ton of progress. But it's my Holo Hood, and this is the worsted weight version, so it's a hood. And it's in brioche, it's in 2 color, it's gorgeous, it's cute, it's beautiful, I love it. And it's a design of mine. And I just added 1 wing here on the side, and I also finished the hood section. That's more important, I think. So if I put it on, like so, you can kind of get the idea. So it's not blocked, and I still have the border that's going to come, and that's going to add quite a lot of length here. And the idea is that I'm going to have another wing, so a triangle like this on the other side, and that way I'm trying not to hit the mic, overlap them both like this, and I'm going to have a button somewhere here to close it, and then another button on the inside, so that I can close the first wing here, like so. And then the cute border that's going to go all around. Yeah, it's taking shape. I'm so happy with this, and I think the change in color is fine. As you can maybe tell here, I did a little bit of fading when I started to run out of the blue because I wasn't sure what I was going to think of a straight line. There was a chance it could have been fine because here I have a straight line, but also I wasn't sure because it would happen pretty low. Maybe it could have been like a hem in a contrasting color, but yeah, I just wasn't sure. So I just did this, and I think it looks fine. I'm happy with it, so I'm glad I did that. But maybe I would have been glad if I haven't done it either. Who knows? The yarns I'm using, so the black is Bicep le lamb's wool, so it's the same as this one, but it's the thicker version. And it's a leftover from a sweater that I wanted to use up. The color is very dark grey, so it's almost black, but not quite. And the blue and this are my own handspun. They are my first handspun project, so it's a little bit thick and thin, but I think with brioche you cannot really tell. It just looks beautiful, if I may say so myself. And yeah, I'm almost done. I mean, aside from the border, but I had to stop here at the very tip of this wing because I need to do the buttonhole and I have no idea how to do a buttonhole in brioche. I've never done it. I could look it up, but if you know me, you know I don't like looking up stuff and I prefer to find the solution by myself. So I think I'm gonna try to do a yarn over thing, like you do when you're in ribbing or stockinette. But brioche, you need to do decreases in sets of 2 stitches. But if I have yarn over, maybe I don't need to do that. I don't know. Anyway, I just need to try, but I need to like sit down and have some time in front of me to try stuff. And I don't have some time in front of me to sit down and try stuff, so it's just staying there until I find a solution. But yeah, this is coming along nicely. I'm very excited. The other version, I did do quite a big chunk of progress on the border, but I'm not going to show that every episode. So yeah, it's going to be for next time. And I really need to send the pattern to my tech editor. I wanted to do it last week, but I didn't have the time. So hopefully this week. But I need to get started on another project that I need to write up the design for. Too many things. Alright, let's talk about my most interesting, cute and fun work in progress. It's a new cast on. You're not ready. You're absolutely not ready because it's so cute. And look at that. It's a little sock with Vans on the cuff. They're so cute. This is obviously a pattern by Stone Knits, who is the queen of cute colorwork socks. It's my first time doing a pattern from her. But this one I just had to. Because if you have been around for any amount of time, you may know that Mr. Tinks, my boyfriend, he has a van. It's a T3 Volkswagen van. And it's exactly those colors. So it's blue on the bottom and it's white on the top. It's our home on wheels and we go on adventures with it all the time. It's his little baby. He loves it so much. I love him so much as well. And when I saw this design by Charlotte Stone, I was like, I have to do it. It's gonna be so cute. Even more since I gifted a pair of Birkenstocks to Mr. Tinks and he wears them all the time and he discovered that he really loves wearing hand-knit socks with his Birkenstock because then everyone can see the hand-knit socks and he's so proud and he's so cute. So I've been wanting to knit him socks, more hand-knit socks. And I saw this pattern and I was like, say no more, take my money, I'm gonna do that. So I bought the yarn. So yeah, the yarns, the green and the white are from Giggling Gecko, which is a hand dyer local to me. And I think the green is army green and the white is like vanilla or something like that. And the blue is from Pat de Velour Yarns, which is also a local hand dyer. And the color is like canard. And you cannot really see it, but there is some black as well, which is a leftover I had at home. Yeah, it's the wheels. I have the little black wheels, but it's not really black because it's very difficult to get black hand-dyed yarn. And I had some black industrial sock yarn, but it was a 50-gram skein and I didn't want it to wind the whole 50-gram skein just to do the little wheel. So I was like, I'm just going to try with the leftover of black hand-dyed yarn. And if it's not black enough, which is it is not, I'm going to go with like a black pen and just ink the wheels in black, in the blacker black. And that way it's going to be more contrast because for now, yeah, you can't really tell they are there. But yeah, it's so cute, I'm so happy. And I'm following the pattern for the biggest size. And what's interesting is that you cast on the cuff, you need the cuff on 2.25, And then when you start the stockinette, you do rapid increases. And then you work the color work on 2.5 millimeters, so one size needle bigger. And when you're done with the color work, you decrease all the extra stitches you increased before, and then you knit the sock normally. So in the pattern, it's supposed to be ribbing all around, but I couldn't be bothered, so I just did stockinette. And that's why you can maybe tell it's like, it's like bulbous here. It's definitely wider around the color work, and it's because there are more stitches. Because of the floats, it's more, it's less elastic where the color work is, which means it can be too tight to go around your heel when you put the sock on. And it was really necessary for Mr. Tinks because I have super big instep. The instep, I have Sprite socks. So the instep here is super wide for me compared to my ankle and my foot. And it's even worse for Mr. Tinks. Like, it's absolutely massive. And his ankles are even tinier. So it's really a challenge to have a sock that fits him correctly. When I knit the cuff, it was barely going on. I tried it on when I finished the cuff. And then I started the color work with all the increases and everything. It was still a little bit tight. And he was like, you really cannot make it any tighter than this. And I was like, I'm doing my best. And then I made it to halfway through the color work. And I realized I had mixed my dominant colors because when I do color work, I have one color in my left hand and one in my right hand. And I'm a continental knitter, so I'm usually having the yarn in this hand. And for some reason, I just got mixed up. I thought the dominant color was in this hand, which it is not. It's in the left hand because it's the float that's below the other one that gets dominant, and I messed up. So you couldn't really see the right details because the dominant color was the background color, and it didn't really look good, and my floats were a little bit too tight anyway, so I was like, I'm just gonna read back. So I read back all the color work until the beginning, and I started over, holding the color work colors or the dominant color in the left hand, and that way I have a much better definition of color. And I did manage to make it a little bit looser, and now it fits over his heel nicely. It's not loose by any means, but at least it fits. It's not too difficult to put on. But then it means that this is so wide that if this sits on his ankle, it's like completely baggy. It looks awful. So I really have to, he really has to pull the sock pretty high on almost on his calf, to have a nice snug fit. Not snug, but at least zero ease and not baggy. So I tried my best to do this section pretty long before I started the heel. The heel is here. So hopefully this is enough. I haven't tried it on since I started the heel. So I just hope it's long enough. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna try it on tonight, but yeah, we'll see. For the heel, I did a lot of increases. So this is a fish lips kiss heel, so it's a basic short row heel. I did 10 more stitches. I increased 10 stitches here with the gusset. So I did 5 increase rounds every other row, which means I had 10 more stitches on the heel, and I am decreasing them slowly through the foot. So when I finished the heel, I have this first marker here, that's the end of the heel. And then I did like 2 rows, and I did the first decrease row. So I decreased 2 stitches, and then I did 10 rows, and I did another decrease row, and then I did 10 rows again. I just did a decrease row. So basically I'm gonna decrease 5 times on every 10th row, and then I'm just gonna knit straight until I hit the toes. I do this because that's how feet are shaped. You can see here, it's quite wide, and then it gets gradually smaller. And the thing that bothers me with like heel flap and gussets is that you have the heel flap, you turn the heel, and then you pick up stitches around the flaps, and then you do a gusset, and you decrease all the stitches at once. But every time I did that, I had completely overstretched fabric. Well, here because it wasn't deep enough and my instep is super big, but also here because I had decreased the stitches in the gusset too fast, and when I was at this point, I still had a pretty big circumference, but I didn't have any stitches, enough stitches to accommodate for it. Whereas if you do the decreases gently along the whole foot, when you get to here, the shape is better. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing gentle decreases for the stitches I have added, and hopefully it should fit perfectly. I hope. I'm gonna try tonight. But I'm so excited. And Mr. Tinks is so happy. I mean, every time he sees me knit on them, he's like, I'm so excited to have them. They are so cute. He's just so sweet. And the funny thing with this, so I have all of those, my minis. Then it's this in this bag. I have the blue mini and the black mini, but I'm not gonna take them out. The 2 days before today, so today is Wednesday, and Monday and Tuesday, we went to the amusement park with Mr. Tinks, my boss, which is a friend of ours, and another guy that works with us, and his girlfriend. So we were 5, and we went to Europapark, which is a big amusement park whose theme is Europe, so the countries in Europe. And it's a very famous park. It's a big park. It's one of those with the big roller coaster rides, and it's so much fun, and I hadn't been in 10 years. And we went there, and it was so much fun. So for the context, let me explain that again, because I don't think it was very clear. So Mr. Tinks, he is a climber, and he has a ton of friends that he met through climbing, and one of them is a good friend of his that he knows for like 10 years or something. It's a super old friend. And this guy has his own company, and he needed someone to do a part-time job, and that someone was me. So my part-time job is a little bit weird. So basically I do quality control of cleaning services. So I go super early in the morning in like universities or schools or whatever, and I check that the cleaning job has been done correctly. So I have a little iPad with a list of all the rooms in the building, and I have a lamp, and I check that everything is clean, basically. That's my job. And it's a part-time job because I have to do like 1 hour in the morning every few days. It's pretty chill. I also do like database maintenance and stuff like that. All this administrative stuff is work from home. The main thing is that one of my boyfriend's very good friends is my boss. So this guy that I get along with super well, we were chatting the other day, and he was like, we need to find something to do for like the company's work trip at the end of the year. And I was like, am I really gonna get into your work trip even if I only work like 20%? And he was like, yeah, of course. And we had some ideas, and he said he really wanted to go to Europapark, which everyone knows around here, because it's not too far from here. It's like 3-4 hours drive. But it's a big trip, like you have to, it's still kind of far. And he wanted to sleep a night there, so you have to book a hotel, and then you have to eat, and you have to, of course, buy the ticket for the entrance of the park. So it's a pretty expensive trip. And I was like, you sure you want to do that? He was like, yeah, of course, it's going to be fine. So we decided to do this. And since he knows my boyfriend very well, because they have been friends before we were friends, I was like, can we take my boyfriend with us? And he went, yeah, of course, why not? So that's how Mr. Tinks ended up coming with us during our work trip, even though he doesn't work with us. And I only have one other coworker. I mean 2, but the other one didn't want to come. So one other coworker, and he also took his girlfriend because I took mine, so he took his partner. And that's why we were 5 young people going to the amusement park during a weekday in the winter. And let me tell you, it's not the same in terms of how many people were around, and we hardly had to do any queue at all, which didn't go well with my plans because I wanted to knit on these socks while we were queuing for the rides. But there was no queue because there was nobody in the park, because it was winter and it was Monday and Tuesday. So I didn't really have a lot of time to knit, which is a shame because then I didn't make a lot of progress on my sock. But it's fine because we did so many rides, like so many rides. It was wild. If you have ever been to Europapark, which I think a lot of people in Europe have been, so all the European people here, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there is the very famous Blue Fire roller coaster, and we did that one like 4 times. And there's also the Silver Star, which we also did 4 times. And then the Wodan, we did like 5 times. And yeah, it was absolutely wild. We stayed there for 2 days, which of course helped. But there is also the brand new ride, which is called the Voltron. I think it opened last year in 2024, and it's incredible. Like, it's so good. If you love really aggressive, hardcore roller coasters, this one's for you because it's so insane. Like, we did 6 times, and at the end we were suffering because it was so hardcore that our brains were like completely shaken in our heads, and it was hurting, but it was so good that we needed to do more, and there was so little queue. Yeah, we had so much fun, but I didn't have the time to knit a lot, unfortunately. But I do have a funny story to tell about one of the rides. So on the first day, it was gorgeous weather. It was really cold, but it was gorgeous weather, sunny and everything. And then it started being a little bit cloudy around like 4 o'clock. And we went into the queue for the Silver Star, and the queue wasn't very long, so we figured, let's do the queue for the front row, which is usually a lot longer because there is only one front row per ride. And there are a lot of people who want to do that, so the queue for the front row is usually pretty long. But since there were so little people to begin with, we were like, it's okay, we can take 20 minutes of queue for once in the day to do this in the front row. So we did that. But during the 20 minutes of queue, the weather turned completely and it started raining buckets. And we were waiting for our turns. So the Silver Star is a 4 seats ride, so there are like lines of 4 seats. And we saw the train coming, and the people were like soaking wet. And the train before that, people were completely dry. So it started raining during this ride, the one just before us. And we were like, oh my God, we're going to be soaking wet. But it's okay, it was fine. We had our mountain jackets, so they were waterproof, so it's just a little bit of water, it's okay. And we got on the ride. And the beginning of the Silver Star is like a very long slope like this, and you just ride along the slope. But it was raining on our face because we were on the front row, of course, and we were like, oh my God, getting hit by the rain. And battery change. And when we got to the very top of the first hill, I would say, that's when we understood what we had gotten ourselves into, because when you're standing still and it rains, the rain is like gentle and delicate, and it's just falling nicely on your head like this. But when you're going at over 100 kilometers an hour, at full speed, and it's raining, you're not having gentle little nice droplets of water on your face. You are getting stabbed by thousands of little droplets in the face, and it's so painful. It's like having a hail rain in your face, and it was horrible. And we spent the whole ride screaming, not because of the rides, but because it was so painful. It was horrible. We were like this the whole time, like, oh no, trying to protect our face. It was so bad. We were definitely not expecting that. And I don't even think the rain was it was raining so hard, but we were going so fast because the Silver Star is the fastest ride in the park, which was definitely not the brightest choice for when it was raining. But yeah, it was just so painful. And the picture, you know, there is always they always snap a picture during the ride. And it's hilarious because we are all suffering. You can see me trying to protect my face. And I have the gecko mitts on, actually. And you can see Mr. Tinks, he's on my left. At some point, he just gave up and he just decided to hide his face in his jacket because he was like, I'm done. I'm not even watching anymore. I don't care. I just want this to be over. And you can just see his forehead on top of the jacket. It's so fun. And you can see also my friend, he's trying to protect himself as well. It was ridiculous. And at the end of the ride, we were like, our faces were hurting so bad, but we were also laughing because it was just so absurd and just such a stupid situation that we decided to take the longer line to be on the front row, which was exactly the worst idea ever for when it started raining. But yeah, it was just so funny. And like 20 minutes later, the rain stopped and we were like, we need to take a revenge on this ride. So we did the line again. We didn't do front row this time, but that means it was super fast. And we did it again. And this time, there was an absolute beautiful sunset. The rain had completely stopped. The weather was gorgeous. It was super cold. But yeah, it was the best ride ever. It was beautiful. And we could have our eyes open the whole time. And we could actually soak it up because we could see what happened. And yeah, that was the funny story of the Silver Star. Anyway, that's all for the knitting Europapark adventures that I went through the last 2 days. I'm so tired, but also I slept really well yesterday, so I'm feeling a bit better. I do have another story to tell that's absolutely unrelated, but it's pretty funny and it's related to knitting. And I should have told this on like Halloween, but I think it happened a few days after. I don't remember, but yeah. A few weeks ago, I was knitting on the bus like I usually do. So I was coming home from whatever, and I was on the very front row of the bus, and that's just next to the driver, the bus driver. So there is like the driver, my seat slightly behind, and then the door is right in front of me and next to the driver. So there was someone sitting next to me, and at some point this person wanted to get off the bus, and I was knitting, so I took all my stuff in my arms like this. I got up and I just moved a little bit to the side so that the person could get off the seat and get out of the bus. And I wanted to sit down again at their place. So I moved again to the side and I started to sit, and while sitting, I leaned forward like this, and my work in progress fell off my arms and fell, of course, on the ground in front of me, right next to the door, which was open because someone just got out of the bus. But there was a handrail in front of me, and I couldn't just lean forward to grab what was on the ground because it was too far, and I had something in front of me that prevented me from leaning forward to the ground. And I was watching my knitting, and my ball of yarn, of course, decided to roll out of the door. And at this exact moment, the door shut close on it, and my ball of yarn was outside, but my knitting was inside, and I was like, no! So I started panicking, and I said to the driver, can you stop, please? And I just shoved everything on the seat, and I got up and I started running towards my knitting. And I was knitting on my gecko mitt, which is a very cute but small object, and I was knitting with magic loops, so the needles were like in this weird position with the two loops outside. And like, if you're not a knitter and you see this work in progress of a very cute fluffy pink thing with the needles like this sticking out, it's super weird. If you don't know what it is, it looks so weird. And I could see the driver. I got his attention because I started calling for him, so he was looking at my work in progress on the ground, and he was like, what the hell is this? And I just didn't understand. So I told him, can you open the door, please? So fortunately, it was a nice guy, because some drivers are absolutely not nice at all, but this one did open the door. But the ball, of course, we were not on flat ground, it was on a hilly road, so the ball had rolled under the bus. So I started leaning out like this, and fortunately, one of the yarns was Drops Alpaca Bouclé, which is very fluffy and very sticky. And I had unraveled my knitting, and I had hand wound a ball, and I hand wound it pretty tight because I wanted to unkink the yarn because I had unraveled it. So it was a very tight and compact ball, and fortunately the brushed alpaca silk had stuck to itself enough that I could just pull on the yarn and the whole ball came to me, and I didn't have to like crawl under the bus to get the yarn. I didn't, like, when you pull on the yarn and it's a skin like this, the skin just unravels and you cannot pull the skin to you, especially if it's down a hill. And fortunately, in this case, I just had to pull and I could grab the ball directly. So I saved my work in progress. But I was like, it would have been a disaster, because if the driver wasn't a nice guy, he would have just closed the door and just continued. And at some point, the wheels would have run over the yarn, and then it would have been stuck under there, and I think it would have maybe broken the needles or broke the yarn before, or make a big knot, or just pull the work in progress under the space between the door and the floor. It would have been a catastrophe. But fortunately, the driver was nice and he opened the door for me. And when I got it back, I said thank you to him, and I could still see on his face he had no idea what just happened, and he had no idea what this object was. He couldn't understand, and yeah, I guess it was pretty weird for him, but fortunately, I still have my gecko mitt. I managed to finish it. And the worst didn't end up happening. So yeah, that was my adventure. I hope you enjoyed this little random story time. And that's it for me today. So I'm gonna leave you there. I need to sew on my lampshade onto the frame. and finish my Holo Hood, and I want to make progress on this sock, and I want to cast on the other one because Mr. Tinks is so excited and he's so sweet. Yeah, I have a ton of stuff to do. I think next week I'm gonna do either a podcast, but I don't think so. But probably I'm gonna film a winter pattern roundup. I usually do this around the actual change of season, like for winter it would be around the 21st of December. But around the 21st of December is Christmas, and I don't think I want to film a video like this when I'm busy celebrating Christmas, obviously. So I think I'm going to do it now, because there are other things I want to do in mid-December. So I think, yeah, next week, winter pattern roundup. So if you have suggestions of patterns, okay, context. When I film this type of pattern roundup videos, I only include size inclusive designs, I mean for garments, because a lampshade cannot be size inclusive, obviously. But yeah, size inclusive garments or accessories, stuff like that. And only from smaller designers, because everybody knows about like Jessie May or Lily Kate or Laura Penrose. You all know about them. You don't need a pattern roundup to get inspirations for those. So if you have suggestions of small designers and size inclusive patterns, I'm all ears. And I'm saying that, but maybe next week there won't be a video at all. Who knows? I'm trying to be not too hard on myself, because if I don't feel like filming a video, I don't want to force myself to do it. So we'll see next week what happens. Maybe I won't be in the mood to film a video and then there won't be anything. But if I film something, probably winter patterns roundup. So if you're interested, or if you just want to follow along on my knitting adventures and public transit adventures, I guess, don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for your support, for your like, for your presence, for your nice words, for everything. I'm so happy you're there. That's it for me. I hope to see you again next time. And until then, happy knitting. I love you.